Hi, I'm Nancy Stowe, food editor of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Welcome to Counterpoints. Today's topic is holiday cutout cookies. Deb, can you tell us about the dough that you're going to mix for us, the sugar cookie dough?
The sugar cookie dough that I'm going to mix is an old family favorite, and it's very simple ingredients that every housewife should have. We have powdered sugar, vanilla, butter, and make sure the butter is room temperature, not hard, not melted.
And it's unsalted butter?
No, this one is salted.
Okay.
We're not going to put salt into this recipe. We're going to let the salt from the butter bring the flavor through. We also have cream of tartar, almond flavoring, and baking soda. And the first thing we're going to do is put all these ingredients into the mixing bowl.
Why cream of tartar? What does that do?
Cream of tartar actually brings the cookie dough together. It's a stabilizer. If you do not use the cream of tartar, your cookie dough will separate.
Okay. So what is in there now in the bowl?
We have actually what it is. It's a soft batter. It's sugar and your butter you mainly can see. One of the other things is you use powdered sugar in this recipe because if you use granulated sugar, your cookie, because it's a rollout, will not adhere or come together, and that's why we use powdered sugar.
What kind of flour do you use?
I use all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And next we're going to add 1 egg.
And all-purpose flour, not unbleached flour. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, the bleached, when you bleach a flour, it creates the protein to be broken down, which also adds for structure to your cookie. And remember, you're doing a cutout cookie. You want it to stay together, not that it falls apart when you try to ice it.
So you're using a heavy-duty mixer. Can you overmix cookie dough?
Actually, this cookie dough is very hard to overmix. The only point that you would overmix the cookie dough is when you mix in the all-purpose flour because of the protein content. And now you want to mix the cookie dough just so that the flour disappears, that it looks like it's all one piece of dough. Okay, and your dough is going to feel like almost like Play-Doh. So if you've played with your Play-Doh with your children at home, that's what your dough should feel like. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start rolling it out. It does not have to be refrigerated. It has real butter in it. If you refrigerate it, it will become very stiff, and when you try to roll it out when it's stiff like that, it will crack. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll the cookie dough out.
What's with these yardsticks?
Actually, it's a little trick an old baker taught me once. When you roll your cookie out, you always have the tendency to have it either thicker or too thin. If you use 2 rulers that are the same height, and you put your rolling pin on the rulers as you roll it, your dough in between is always going to be the same size.
What height is that? Do you know?
It's like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch, probably 1/4. I like to get, a little bit thicker. Don't buy a real skinny ruler, or you can put 2 rulers together. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dust our work area with our all-purpose flour. We're going to take some of our dough, and in order to do it with it like the railroad tracks, I'm going to make it long and skinny.
That's not too much flour?
Nope, because what the flour is doing underneath it is like sliding. So as you roll it, it will slide. And I'm going to put some flour on top. And I'm going to start rolling. Now you can go this way also to make it a little bit wider if you want. But remember, your final has to be on top of the yardsticks. Okay? Now we have even dough. When you put your cutter on it, I do have them pre-floured. I usually dip my cookie cutters in flour. And as bakers say, flour is not dirt. So a good cookie cutter should have flour on it. Okay, and I'm going to press on it firmly with my hands. And then you can either take a spatula to go underneath it, but here's your first cookie. Now, if you don't want this flour on here, just take a little pastry brush and brush it off before you bake it. And the next one's going to be a snowflake. And if it does stick a little, that's fine. Just be careful when you pull it out. And then make sure any cookie cutters that got points like this, they tend to stick more. So each time you cut, make sure you dip it in the flour and then go back and cut another one.
Okay, before we go to decorating these lovely cookies here, tell us about baking the cookies. Is there any trick to making them evenly brown the way these are?
Yes, and actually baking is one of the main parts you really have to watch. In our traditional ovens that we have a lot of bottom heat. And even if you do have the radiant heat throughout, the bottom heat still always is the one that dominates. And so you really have to watch the bottoms. Now, if they are starting to get brown on the bottom and the top is not set yet, then you're either going to have to do what we call double pan, take 2 trays and slide one of those trays underneath the one that's in the oven. Or if you're doing a lot of cookies, one of my favorite ways to do it is I'll start 1 tray in the bottom, and after so many minutes I'll move it up, and then I'll put another tray in the bottom and just keep rotating up till the cookie is done.
This recipe, by the way, is at the website, so please look it up. Now, why don't you show us how you decorated these cookies?
Okay, we're going to start with our big tree first, and I'll bring one over. And what I'd like to use, it's candy coating. It comes in discs. You can get this in any craft store. Cook Specialty in West Dallas sells it. You can get any color from yellow, red, purple, blue, gold, any color you want.
It's called confectionery coating, right?
Correct. It is not real chocolate. There is not one speck of chocolate in here. It is made from actually hydrogenated shortening and some dairy and a lot of sugar. And so one of the cautions we have with this is that when we microwave it, we got to make sure we don't overheat it or get spotty heating. It will scorch it. Okay, and the first one we're going to heat up is our green. I'm just going to put it in a little bit longer. And we're going to decorate our green cookie with traditional nonpareils. The kids love these. It tastes like little candy bits. And that you can actually find in any grocery store. Okay, here is my melted chocolate. I'm going to stir it a little. And this is when it gets really fun. You feel like a little child when you start doing this. You're going to take the top of your cookie. You're going to dip it into the chocolate. You're going to shake it a little. And when you bring it up, you shake it again. And that's what smooths it out.
So much easier than trying to spread it on evenly.
Yep. And the dipping, it's fun. And then all you do, every cookie, as soon as you get done dipping it, you need to add your topping. And if you don't add your topping right away, the candy coating will set and your topping won't stick to it. The next cookie is one of my favorites. It's a snowflake. And I actually like this one even for winter parties.
Now that has glitter on it. That's edible glitter?
Yes, it is. And you can buy edible glitter. I'm not sure if the craft stores have it, but I know Cook Specialty does in West Dallas. It looks like snowflakes when you put it on. You probably can see the shininess of it.
Stores like Bart's Party Supplies carries those ingredients too.
They do. Oh, that's right. Yes, they do. Okay, I have my chocolate ready. I am now ready to dip my cookie. I'm going to place it in there, push it in again, pull it out. I'm going to shake it. I'm going to shake it on top to smoothen it out. Now this cookie does have 2 sets to it. If you notice, we have white on it, and you see that we have it with fine lines. Then for the white icing, if you don't have a pastry bag, you can just use a regular Ziploc bag. I'm going to pour the chocolate in there. Okay, and you're going to have a little tip on the end. I'm going to cut that little tip off. And now I'm going to pipe it onto my snowflake. You can do any design. If you think about snowflakes, when you draw them as a child, they can be any shape, any design. And I'm going to just shake it slightly to let that flatten down. And I have this edible snow on it. There's your snowflake.